Hey you guys, welcome to another mini episode of Vic's Tips, the TOEFL edition. So every week we're going to have a class dedicated just to the TOEFL exam. And all advanced students should participate regardless if they are taking the test or not. Now, remember, it's all about confidence and taking things slowly, okay? This class is for advanced students, okay? So some of our current students will see that this video ties with the homework assignment that is attached to the email, okay? So the TOEFL test. The TOEFL test is one of the tests that is recognized worldwide that measures your fluency in English. So normally if you want to study abroad, get a postdoc, or get a job, okay? Having that TOEFL certificate that determines your level of fluency can open a million doors, including scholarships. Today, we're going to talk about something essential. So having a diverse vocabulary is something that is essential to get a score above 100. Remember, the maximum score in the TOEFL is 120, and the test is broken up into 4 sections, right? Okay? So when you have a score over 100, so many possibilities open up and you qualify for things that you didn't imagine. Now, we will talk about phrasal verbs, we will talk about different verb tenses, but today we're going to talk about expressions, okay? And I'm going to give you my main rules and my main tips so you can always get them right. Now, if you follow these rules, you will not make a mistake. Here are some things that are important, okay? I have students from all over the world, and normally I will teach somebody an expression and the person will say, oh, I have the same one in my language. So a lot of times an expression can be compatible, okay, to your native language. But you should always remember that there may be a difference. The number one rule of expressions is never translate. If you translate, you might find yourself in an awkward position, or you won't get that really the correct definition and the correct usage. And I always tell people to take risks, but with expressions, you really need to be comfortable before using them. Rule number 2, an expression normally contains a verb. So depending on how you're using, you need to conjugate the verb. When you become more advanced, you can play with the expression a little bit, okay? And change the order of some things. But that all comes with practice. Is this easy? No, but you should feel happy that you are on this level where you can take a class on expressions and dominate it, okay? So now today we're going to talk about some of the most common expressions in English. Don't make a mistake. Apply all of the rules that you already know. Never translate, conjugate the verb, make sure not to leave anything out. Now, if you're not sure of an expression, the best way to search for it is to always look online. But for example, if you use Google, you can type, what is the definition of the expression? And you type the expression. Or you can type examples of the expression. And then Google will give you some. Or you can use the app Dictionary, which is one of my favorites. Now, remember, it takes time. Nobody learns all of these in one class. And when you watch TV or when you're reading an article, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing something that you learned. So welcome to our first TOEFL edition, chapter 101, okay? Expressions. So expressions are a part of English and there's no way to escape them. If you want to be an eloquent speaker, you must know how to use all of them. Do they vary? Absolutely. And as English is spoken in many countries, we don't just stick to American expressions. Today, I'm going to go over a list with you, and I will give you one example per expression, just to kind of give you an idea. But students participating in this assignment, remember, you will have to do some research. That's why you have a little bit longer to hand this assignment in. Sounds good? Also, this is an assignment that's not going to be graded by the computer. So take your time. Focus on your prepositions. Don't just think about the expression and forget the rest of the sentence. Now, here's one final big tip before we start. always, always, always look for the essence of the expression, a key word. And if you see a wink, you might have found one. So take a note, okay? Today we will begin with the expression bitter pill to swallow. You can treat this expression as an adjective. A bitter pill to swallow is something difficult to accept. For example, corruption is a bitter pill to swallow. Okay, so it's something difficult to accept, but technically, even a difficult person can be a bitter pill to swallow. The verb here is to swallow, and the past is swallowed. So you can say, it was difficult speaking to my boss, but I swallowed that bitter pill, and I did it. Do you see how you can change the order of the words? But the expression is a bitter pill to swallow. Treat it as an adjective, and it will work well for you. Number 2, at a premium. That's when something is a little bit expensive and the quality doesn't match the price. So, of course, Apple products are fantastic, but in most countries they are so expensive. So it's very fair to say Apple products are at a premium. Okay? Number 2, to cash in on something, to benefit from something, financially or not. Most students learn English so they can cash in on their English at work. So with this example, I imagine that the person earns a higher salary or receives more prestige. When you cash in on something, you always benefit. It does not have to be financial. Number 4, okay? Cash cow, a business product or service that generates a lot of money. Example, Tesla is a cash cow with their stock going up a lot in the last 7 days. Very good. Now, a dog-eat-dog world. This is a cruel and aggressive world where people are willing to do anything in order to get ahead in life. So, example, working in any corporate environment is a dog-eat-dog world. So you need to protect yourself, you need to have the best skills, and sometimes you need to stay silent and just listen, because we learn a lot more listening than speaking, right? To climb the corporate ladder. Here, the verb is to climb, the past is climbed. So I can say, Paul climbed the corporate ladder by learning how to speak Portuguese and dealing with many Brazilian companies, okay? Now he's a vice president. And you can substitute corporate for the social ladder or something like that, okay? And just be creative. Now, to compare apples to oranges, that's when we compare two things that are similar, but technically different. So comparing Apple to Samsung is like comparing apples to oranges. Never make a mistake and switch the order of apples and oranges. It's considered a gaffe, okay? Now, to dot your I's and cross your T's. That's to be very detailed, to be very thorough. Example, when Pedro prepares his reports, he always dots his I's and crosses his T's. So in this case, I am saying that he's very detailed and he pays a lot of attention to small things, okay? Now, to fast track a project, to make a project faster. So for example, suppose that your company's competitor is launching a similar product, okay? And you only have 4 weeks. Your boss will say, we need to fast track the launch of our new payment system. So in this case, everybody has to work extra hard and shorten the amount of time that you use to achieve whatever you're supposed to achieve with that campaign. A blockbuster. A lot of people think of the store, but actually the store took the name from the expression. A blockbuster is a big success. So I can say, Julia's projects are always a blockbuster. Now, to bite the bullet. So the verb here is to bite, bit, bitten. This one has two definitions. It means to accept something difficult or to make a difficult decision. Now, don't forget, a difficult decision is a matter of opinion, or circumstance. So something that's difficult for me, perhaps it's not difficult for you, or vice versa. Example, with COVID-19, we need to bite the bullet, stay home, and wear masks. So that's accepting something difficult. Okay. So a lot of times we don't want to go out because of COVID-19, but we can say, ooh, I had to bite the bullet and go to the supermarket today. Okay. And obviously we understand the dangers of going out during the pandemic. Now, the hard sell, I absolutely hate this one. That's when you enter a store and the salesperson is extremely aggressive with his or her selling technique. Okay. They keep trying to force you to buy no matter what, to generate lots of buzz, to get people talking about their products. Okay. So example, when L'Oreal launches a new, let's say, face cream, the company may distribute samples in order to generate lots of buzz to get people talking about the product. On top of trends, be careful with this one. Never say, this haircut is in fashion. No, no, no. Always say, this haircut is on top of trends. Okay? Always. Okay? A lot of people make that mistake. Fashion is a field of work. Okay? If something is popular, it's on top of trends. Now, to jump the gun, that's to do something before it's time. So, for example, Marielle was applying for a new job. Before she got the job, she rented an apartment in a new city. She definitely jumped the gun. So you see how I used the verb in the past there? Okay. Now, to jump through hoops, to go through a lot of bureaucracy. Okay. So we can say, in order to renew my passport, I have to jump through hoops. I must bring a lot of documents and be prepared. To keep something under wraps. That's to keep something a secret. So, example, we are throwing a surprise party for Tom. You can come. Keep it under wraps. So, this means keep it a secret. My gut tells me. This means my instinct tells me. And I always say to students, when you are looking at a multiple choice question, always go with what your gut tells you. Always go with your first instinct. Okay? Now, nothing ventured, nothing gained. That's an easy one. No risk, no reward. Okay? So it's kind of like asking somebody out that you like. If you don't do it, you're never going to know the answer. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. Normally this expression is used at the end of a sentence. To pass the buck. That's to pass the blame. So I can say, my brother never accepts responsibility when he makes a mistake, and he always passes the buck. So in this case, he's blaming somebody else. Okay? Now, to plug a product. That's when you see a movie or a series and you see somebody drinking, let's say, Pepsi. Pepsi is plugging their product. Okay? And that's a very common one. Now, to pull one's weight, it's important to remember that one is the individual. So to pull your weight is to do your part of the work. So example, I never like working in a group project with Steven. He never pulls his weight. So in this case, I am saying Steven never does his share of the work. A reality check. We all need a reality check sometime in our lives, right? Okay, so a reality check is an eye-opening experience, okay? To pull the plug. Now, this one is exactly like it sounds. It's to cancel something. So I can say, after seeing the results from their test market, Coca-Cola decided to pull the plug on their new marketing campaign. It could be considered offensive considering what is happening around the world. That's just a simple example. To scale back one's hours. Now the verb there is to scale, scaled, right? So one is the individual. I can say, Vic scaled back his hours in order to have a better performance, okay? To rally the troops. That's to motivate people and bring them together. Former President Obama is great at rallying the troops. So in this case, he does a really great job in motivating people. Now, a yes man. That's a person, a man who says yes to anything, a person who agrees to a lot of stuff without thinking. And you can say a yes man or a yes woman, okay? I can say Judy is a yes woman. She always agrees to everything and never has time to accomplish all of her tasks, okay? Now, to work down to the wire, that's to work until the last possible second. To work down to the wire. So I can say, Maria had a deadline of 5 o'clock. It is 4:55. I can see she's finishing. She's working down to the wire. Okay? To step up to the plate. Be careful. Okay? The verb here is to step, stepped. To step up to the plate is to take initiative, to volunteer. So I can say, Brian asked which one of his team members would like to step up to the plate and lead the project. Okay? Now, belt tightening. That is a reduction of expenses. So, many companies are doing some belt tightening by having many people work from home, which is actually really effective from both sides. To put a stake on the ground. That's to take the first step. Do not get it confused with to step up to the plate, which is to take initiative, to volunteer. To put a stake on the ground is to take the first step. Example. Subway put a stake on the ground 15 years ago by offering healthier menu options. After that, all fast food restaurants tried to copy what they did. Okay? To keep your eyes on the prize, to keep your eyes on the end result. Okay? To have a lot on one's plate. Remember, one is the individual. Okay? Is to have a lot of responsibilities. So if you call me and say, hey Vic, can you go out today? I'll say, I'm so sorry. I have a lot on my plate. So this means I'm very busy. I have a lot of responsibilities. So to those students that thought we were done, no, I have my trusty notebook here and we're going to go over just a few more bonus expressions, okay? So keeping up with the Joneses, that's a very common one. And to keep up with the Joneses is to keep up appearances. It's never a good thing. So I can say, every time Brian's work colleague gets new technology, he wants to upgrade too, even if he does not need it. Keeping up with the Joneses is very important to him. To taste your own medicine. I always prohibit my students of saying yeah. And yesterday, somebody corrected me and was like, yes. So I tasted my own medicine. So that's to experience something that you are against, okay? Out of the blue, something unexpected. So I could say, I was home and out of the blue, my sister arrived for a visit. Now, the last one today, and we don't do this, it's to throw in the towel. To throw in the towel is to give up, okay? So I can say, Stephen tried running, but his knees hurt a lot. So he threw in the towel. Now he just walks. I really hope you enjoyed this first class. Okay, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to inbox them, send them over. It's my pleasure. Okay, and we will see you guys next week for our TOEFL 1 or 2. Okay, and I will be really glad if you write down an example and shoot it over to me. And I'll pick my favorite one and mention it in the next class. Stay tuned for more, and that's money.